Leonard Albert Daniel was a hero to his family and our nation. Most people knew him as Dan or Danny. He was born in Virgilina, Virginia in November of 1920 to an American father and French mother. His parents met during World War I when Leonard Elijah was serving in the U.S. Army stationed in Europe. Dan's father became ill many years later from the gassing during World War I. It's at this time his mother Marcelle took Dan and his two sisters back to France, supposedly for a visit. This trip turned out to be longer than expected.
It just got longer and longer, and finally one day, I don't remember what the year was, but my mother got a letter from my father telling her that he got a divorce and got remarried. So we knew then that our chances of coming back were not too great for some time anyway. I loved my father, and I missed being in America. I thought I was over there for a short time and then I would come back, but I did not take that too well, no.
Everything changed for Dan. He was in a foreign country, enrolling in school, and he didn't even speak the language. But he was a quick study, and he would speak French for the rest of his 90 years.
In France, we all went to school. We had to learn French. We didn't know French. And I remember when I first went to school, in the first class in Pont-Valin, where they put a book in front of me and they said, "Ça c'est un crayon, ça c'est un cahier." On écrit dans le cahier avec le crayon, and that was my first words I learned in French school. So I played soccer all the time. I was a registered athlete. I had an athlete's license.
Life in France was tough. They went from one relative's home to another, and Dan worked at different jobs to help support the family. Then came Hitler, and the Germans took over France. At age 21, Dan had to escape.
That's when the Germans came in. When they occupied France, we knew that they were moving very quickly in France with very little resistance. And the word was that they were taking all men from 16 to 65, picking them up. And what they were doing with them, we didn't know. So, of course, my mother said, well, you might as well go on down to Bas-sur-Mer. I left one day, and I rode all day and until about midnight. And then I stopped on the side of the road. I was going to lay down and sleep a little while and get up the next morning and go, but as soon as I laid down, I heard machine guns or some kind of firing, so I got right back on my bike and just started back down. And just kept on going until I got to Bas-sur-Mer.
With assistance from the Red Cross, Dan, his mother, and two sisters were able to flee to Lisbon and catch a boat back to America, back to freedom.
We landed in Jersey City.
As soon as he arrived in America, Dan tried to join the army to fight Hitler and the Germans. They would not accept him, though, because he couldn't speak English anymore. French had become his only way of communicating. This would soon change, though, yet again.
As soon as I got in touch with him, very shortly thereafter, he came up there to pick me up. I just went back to North Carolina, and when I got down to Maxton, I went to the junior college that they had right there in town.
While in college, Dan studied aviation and got his pilot training and license on the weekends. This was a skill that would prove vital.
The Navy made calls through all the colleges, and they came through the college looking for people to join the aviation cadet program.
Dan and his mother Marcelle would play key roles for the Navy in World War II.
Learned to fly some of the real light Navy aircraft and take Morse codes and various Navy instructions, you know. My mother went into the map division of the U.S. Navy, drawing maps and converting French maps into English for the armed forces.
Dan learned English fast and was able to use both languages to serve our country. And soon, his life would actually change dramatically yet again. all because of a dog.
What I was doing, really walking around in the street. And when I first saw her, she said, "Is that your doggy back there?" And I said, "Where?" There was no doggy there. That was just her way of starting the conversation. And I said, "No, that's not my doggy, whatever you see."
After a quick wartime courtship, Dan and Margie Ruth were married, and he was soon shipped out to the Pacific Theater.
They sent me out in the South Pacific. The Navy did. I was transferred from Pensacola to some military squadron in Morotai or Peleliu or one of those islands in the South Marianas. So I went out there, and they transferred me to a transport squadron because I had been flying transport planes. I'd been flying all kinds of things in Pensacola.
Dan continued in the Navy Reserves as his family grew. He worked in the banking industry using his accounting skills he learned back in France. Then another war, this time Korea, and Uncle Sam came calling again.
The Coast Guard was looking for 200 Navy pilots to join the Coast Guard and fly with the Coast Guard. So rather than go to Korea, I thought that would be a good opportunity. I went ahead and joined the Coast Guard, and that was in 1952.
As a helicopter and seaplane pilot for the Coast Guard, there were many dangerous rescue missions, and he and his buddy Al Flanagan were assigned to a special Coast Guard mission called Operation Tugboat. He was instrumental in developing a new way to tow stranded vessels to safety.
They were pretty down on the operation. They said it's not what you think it is. It's very risky. We lost several helicopters in towing ourselves. It worked out real good. They used it later, and they used it for years in the Coast Guard. After we developed it and we figured out how to do it, it took us quite a while to develop that because we went through many trial things.
The Daniel family, like most military families, moved a lot. From the Philippines to Alaska, from New York to Pensacola, Dan took his family everywhere.
After her tour in the Philippines, and then the tour came into Alaska, she was used to it by then. She was just a good old Navy and Coast Guard wife.
Upon retirement from his military career, Commander Daniel was ready to settle down, this time in Atlanta. He would again use his accounting skills at various companies such as RCA and the IRS. He and Marge were married for over 50 years and raised a large family. Their house was always filled with children, animals, and lots of laughter. He even returned to France some 60 years later, a trip he deeply cherished. Dan was a man of great courage and loyalty. He served God and country with excellence. Dan was a hero to us all.